I mean, I'm just one of many. I would think I would be a trusted voice for him as he goes through a really arduous rehab and all that goes into repairing an ACL and then coming back from it. But, there are a lot of people that he can lean on. Certainly doctors and therapists are number one, and then, people that have been through it. I encourage him, much like when I went through it, to do as much research on it as he can. There are a lot of terrific stories out there from, athletes that have overcome even more than what he's going to have to overcome. And I know that helped me through my journey. But, each person's different, and I'll be whatever Edmond needs me to be. Well, the first thing I told him is, and it was part of my quote, sometimes bad things happen to good people. I told him that if this is the worst thing that happens in your life, you're gonna live a really good life, and that's always difficult to hear within 24 hours of injuring yourself. But to have a larger perspective, I shared a couple stories of friends of our family that a year ago were healthy. Dad gets diagnosed with cancer. A year later, he's not on this earth. And so everybody has problems, and I'm not diminishing what's happened to Ed. I feel really, really terribly for him, but the sun's going to shine the next day. And again, if this is the worst thing that happens in his life, he's going to live a really good life. Then I talked about, what he's going to face in rehab. And no matter how much you push, and I may have learned this the hard way, no matter how much you push physically, and no matter how much you strengthen your legs and get your mobility back and flexibility and all that stuff, there's a healing process that you can't speed up. He's going to have some type of graft. I'm sure it's going to be a graft. It's going to be some type of patella. It's going to either be from the patella tendon, could be a cadaver, could be an artificial one, hamstring, you name it. But there's a transformation that takes place that has nothing to do with how hard you rehab. That tendon will transform into a ligament, no matter how fast or how hard you rehab. And that just comes from a lot of experience. No, he wants to be a big part of the team, but, there's also, a little bit of time where right now it's hard for him to get around. We have to wait for the swelling to go down, and, he's got a little bit of a bone bruise in there, and they want that to go down before he even has surgery. And then once you have surgery, it's not the easiest thing in the world to get around. So I assume he'll be here when he can, and when he can't, he won't be. That's way premature. I want to sit down with Ed and his family, and we'll worry about that, at a later date. Right now my concern is just getting him back, healthy, and there's a process to that, and there's no decision that has to be made one way or the other. Whether he comes back to Xavier and plays next year, whether he goes on to the NBA, I don't know what's right at this point, and I really don't care. We'll get that information, and we'll sit down, and Ed and his family will do what's best for Ed, and that's about it. Well, he sat out his freshman year, and he became a better player during that time. And, much like a lot of athletes do, they gain an appreciation when you're without the sport. But Ed's a very, very high character kid. And that might get tossed around a whole lot and nowadays, but to his core, I don't know if I've coached a better kid. He's a tremendous student. And that's what it takes. It takes a lot of character to do rehab when no one's watching. I never have to follow up on the details with Ed. I mean, he always does what he needs to do, and usually pretty quiet about it. But it's going to be a lonely road, and no matter how much we try to include him, his teammates try to include him, there's a natural separation that occurs when a player gets injured. And so I encourage our team to, be that shoulder he can lean on. And but there are going to be some days where just he and Fluker, just he and the rehab specialists, and it's just how it works. They feel for him, but we also have a job to do. And so, when they're with Ed, I expect them to be great teammates like they always are, and We talked about it yesterday when Ed wasn't around, but they also have a job to do, and each guy has to step up a little bit more as we move forward. Phew. Phew. I think it made me have a different perspective on things. I know, and as we all get older, but I think I learned it very early on. Nobody really feels sorry for you. Everybody's got a life to lead, and you might get a couple comments when it first happened, and that was my point with Edmond, is that there's going to be some lonely days ahead, and it's just it's difficult. But for me, I think it showed me a work ethic and a resolve to get back. It put things into perspective. Like I said, I knew that when my basketball playing days were done, I didn't want them to be, but that was reality. I was different than Ed. It was on my second one, and sometimes life deals you some cruel blows, and you just have to be able to figure it out and be better because of it. And I think I did that.